Hello everyone, my name's Bruce Lane and thank you for joining this web broadcast. I'd like to run through today our latest drilling results at our low Herma project in Wyoming. Please take a moment to consider this disclaimer. I'm not providing financial advice today and there will be some forward-looking statements. So why GTi Energy? I mean, the uranium and nuclear power sectors are obviously enjoying a lot of positive news at the moment. There are numerous good news stories around the building of nuclear power plants, the restarting of nuclear power plants all over the world. And there are clearly some challenges in the supply side with the likes of Kazatomprom guiding down their production guidance going forward. I guess we're not seeing that show up in the equities just yet, but we're very hopeful that we'll see a change towards the end of this year as the long-term uranium price starts to strengthen beyond its current level at around $80, which, by the way, is still a very attractive price for projects, particularly in situ recovery projects in the US. So GTi is, we believe, the only junior with JORC-compliant in situ recovery resources in the ground with 7.4 million pounds across our Wyoming projects. We think our valuation at the moment, as it stands, is very attractive at less than $1 US per pound of resources in ground. We think that compares very favourably with valuations in the last cycle, and we think there's certainly room for that to move to the upside. We are drilling at the moment and targeting a resource upgrade and grade and potentially a scoping study, and we'll talk more about that. We think ISR remains the most attractive, particularly for alkaline leach projects in terms of CapEx, OpEx and speed to production. So our low Herma project is our core focus. We're drilling there at the moment. We should be finished in the coming weeks, and we would then move towards a scoping study, potentially off the back of a resource update in Q4. We've raised $2.25 million under a placement. We're in the middle of a rights issue at the moment that is underwritten to $1.6 million. And our Green Mountain project is due to receive a permit for drilling. We are unlikely to drill on it this year, but we will have that permit in place nevertheless, we believe, in the next few weeks. So I'd like to refresh your understanding of our resources. We have 5.71 million pounds at low Herma in the inferred category, and we have just over 1.5 million pounds at our Great Divide projects, which gives us a total resource endowment of 7.37 million pounds to date. In addition to that, though, we have a significant exploration target in place, a total of close to 12 million pounds at the bottom end and up to 20 million pounds at the top end. And if we look at low Herma, what we're seeing here is that if we have 5.71 million pounds at the moment, we may be able to bring an extra, say, 6 million pounds into resource at the bottom end of that range of the exploration target, or potentially up to an additional 10 million pounds. We believe that a project around the sort of 7 to 8 million pounds size is certainly sufficient for us to be able to justify a scoping study. So our low Herma project, 10 miles from Cameco, the largest permitted plant in the US. We purchased a database there last year, gave us around almost 1,800 drill logs. At the moment, the project has 946 holes in it within the resource, within the project footprint. By the time we get to the end of this program, we'll have around 956 or close to 960 holes. Just to looking at the geology, between the two dotted lines there is the low Herma project. It's around 12 kilometres long. And as I said before, very close to Cameco Smith Highland Ranch, which is to our east. The historical holes that we have are mostly down around that sort of 400-foot average depth that you see here on this map, and these red areas are the resource areas. So where we're drilling at the moment is in this Wasatch Formation, and we're picking up some additional mineralisation in the deeper part of that. And we are currently, as we speak today, we are now testing down into the Fort Union Formation, and I'll talk a little bit more about that in a minute. So we're targeting resource growth there in the Wasatch, and then hopefully picking up some mineralisation in the Fort Union. Got 76 holes planned, of which we are about 90% of the way through. We're collecting core samples for network, and we've been successful in getting those core samples out, and we will be building some water monitoring wells as part of the program. So out of the first 10 holes that we reported a couple of weeks back, 8 hit mineralisation on trend. The best intercepts were very encouraging at 14.5 feet for 640 ppm and 16.5 feet at 540 ppm. These are very good widths and grades for production for ISR mining. The latest 56 holes which we've just reported were very successful. We had 47 of those intercepting mineralisation on trend. It's important to note that the holes that don't hit mineralisation are really important in terms of helping us to understand the lateral extent of these roll front systems. So no hole is a waste of time in the process we're going through at the moment. The best intercepts that we've picked up in this latest round were 6 feet at 1230 ppm, and that's in hole LH24028, which is this hole here. And then to the north, I just have to move this. We picked up in hole 63, 11 feet at 540 ppm. And what's been particularly pleasing about this latest round of drilling is that whilst we had mineralisation in this northern area, we really wanted to get some better holes up here in terms of grade thickness. And we've been able to achieve that, which really helps us to confirm that northerly trend. And I think on that, the continuity of width and thicknesses for those northerly holes has been very important in terms of us having confidence that we can achieve our resource upgrade. So as I think I alluded to before, we're now moving over to this eastern area where we're testing for mineralisation in the deeper Fort Union area, and also that drilling will help to validate the historical holes in this area and allow us then to bring those into resource. So I just want to talk briefly about what's happening in the neighbourhood. We've got 2 companies exploring around us. One is at Nuclear Fuels up here at the KC project, and they're in the middle of a fairly significant campaign in that area. And then down here, Premier American are in the middle of an exploration program down here, I think around 39 holes. In addition, we've got Lost Creek operating here, and they are currently building at Shirley Basin at the moment, and that's an £8.8 million project. I'll give you a bit more information about that in a minute. We know that Encore have this Gas Hills project, and also just north of £8 million in their development pipeline. We've got UEC now back in production here at Irrigary Christensen Ranch. So there's quite a lot happening in our general area. And as I said, the Shirley Basin project here is really worth looking at, and particularly at the NPV and the IRR numbers here, which are very attractive from a financial point of view. So we think the all-in sustaining cost for these projects for uranium production is around that sort of $40 mark. And then the Gas Hills project down here, as I said, also just over £8 million. A bit of an older PEA. I think the CapEx would obviously need to be updated, as with the uranium price. But it's just worth looking at those projects to understand that as satellite projects, they are very attractive. The CapEx would need to be increased by, say, at least $20 million to create a central processing plant. But nevertheless, the economics appear to be very attractive. I thought it's also worth touching on valuations for some of the other explorers around where we are in Wyoming. I think Premier I spoke about before, currently exploring. They have a resource in New Mexico. It's a conventional resource of 23 million pounds for a conventional hard rock project. So they currently carry a valuation. And look, some of these, this is a little out of date in terms of valuations. I don't think the valuations have improved since then, but they were sort of around that $2 a pound mark. You can see here we are at, and there's a Canadian dollar amounts. We're at less than $1 a pound. in US dollar terms. And you can see that Nuclear Fuels, Myriad and Strathmore don't have compliant resources yet, but they still have a relatively attractive valuation when compared to GTi. So look, I think just to finish off, I want to refresh those of you who are shareholders and were shareholders on the record date of Monday, the 12th of August, are entitled to participate in our non-renounceable rights issue. We've extended the closing date until the 23rd of September so that shareholders have the ability to digest some of our news, particularly the latest news. We are offering shares at 0.4 cents a share with a free attaching option on a 1-for-3 basis, and that option will have a 1 cent strike price. There will also be an offer to GTRO option holders, which we'll communicate more about in the coming weeks. So thanks very much for taking the time to listen to this web broadcast. If anybody has any need to contact me, please do so. I'm very happy to talk to anyone about the projects and about the company. And if you're interested in participating in the rights issue and want to know more about how to do that, you can either contact Vested Equities or our share registry at Automic, or indeed, please contact us at the company by, in the first instance, sending us an email or giving us a call. Thanks again for your time.